Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your boy Robin here, and welcome back to Inside the Glitch, the podcast here where we go in depth on my brand new album, Soul Glitch, and kind of dive deep into the makings of the record while addressing some of the mental health and deeper personal life aspects of the record as well. Today is going to be one of a 3-part series where we break down each song track by track. But first, I do want to apologize and address my absence for the last few weeks. If you have been keeping up, or even if you haven't, you're just kind of like tuning in. If you go back and look, you've probably noticed that there is a bit of a gap between the 3rd episode and this one. The first 3 episodes, if I'm being honest, where I was just kind of doing this as something like an idea. I felt like it wasn't impossible and I can't be afraid to fail type of thing, right? So there was a lot of mistakes. If you noticed, I named the podcast something different and it's a lot. So I'm back. I am better. I feel better. And I think, honestly, we've got a much more appropriate agenda for these episodes. So I'm excited to get into it with you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for joining. I really do love and appreciate you so much. So we're going to go ahead and break down each song. My official 2nd album, Soul Glitch, has just released. I do consider it more of a passion project personally, as it is something quite different from my typical. If you listen to my first record, Window, and then kind of come back to this one, I think you'll hear quite the difference sonically and things. But I wanted to lean into this character, this story that I had been actively living and writing at the same time simultaneously. So here we are. I'm excited to finally have released this record to you guys. If you didn't catch it in the first few episodes, if this is your first time listening to me, I have been working on the record, or had been working on the record for 5 years. I started writing it in late 2018, early 2019, and I've just dropped it September 22nd, 2024, and we are now heading into 2025. So yeah, it's definitely been a long time coming. I don't typically take that long for projects, but I do believe in creating very cohesive bodies of work, even if I am learning what that means. When I listened and remade my entire first album for the 5th anniversary edition, I was so... God, I could roll my eyes 1,000 times for some of the stuff that I heard, but I had to make peace with where I was at the time and the younger version of me that was writing those songs. So I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah, but anyways, let's get into it. So the first track is going to be the intro. It's called Birth. Birth is really just your portal into the world of Soul Glitch. I want to say that I am very picky with opening tracks, but if I'm honest, I think in the past I've always kind of just let them come to me. This was the first time I specifically curated like a record to be the first track. Like I made an intro for this. Oh, I lied. Excuse me. The first album, Window, does have an intro. However, the song that it goes into, Glass House, that was written first. And then the intro was built around the song Glass House to kind of set the soundscape and the scene, if you will. But this time around, I want to say that I had already written the first song and everything. But I don't know, I was still playing around with the track order. I just remember that Human was always like an opening song because I had originally wanted the intro portion of it to have like some dialogue included. I had written the album like a short film to a degree, or I was trying to write it like that, excuse me. The songs came individually and I would always write them as if I were this robot character. That was always a constant. However, I got to a point toward the latter half of the writing the 2nd album where I was wanting... I had met so many creative people and I was having so many new creative experiences with my music, and I guess I had a moment of expansion mentally, and I really was just thinking about filming. And then also I was at this point in my career where I was desperate for visuals. At this point in my life, I had only had one music video, and it was for my song Winner, which is cute, and I'm proud of it nonetheless, but it is very much so my first video, if you can't tell. And you know what's funny? It's not even my first video. It's my first video under the artist name Rxbyn, Rxbyn, but in actuality, I had already filmed like 5 or 6 of them. Ooh, maybe even more than that, because, well, anyways, we won't go back that far. If you would like to know more about that, I do have a series on my YouTube channel called Window Diaries. I believe there are 3 episodes in it. It is an unfinished series, as I ran into some technical difficulties all those years ago. But the first 3 episodes really do a good job of kind of explaining like where the album came from and why, and like kind of guiding the process into the second album, even though we didn't really know from that series that that's what I was working on. But yeah, I recommend just really going and watching the first one. I think it's like 15 minutes long. That one does a good job of explaining everything I'm talking about. But fast forwarding back to, or flashing back to, as I'm writing the intro, yeah, I'm really just, I'm envisioning a short film. Everything is visual to me at this point. And I was actually already in the process of gearing up to film my first visual. As I wrote this, Feel a Wave had already been written, but Feel a Wave was my first music video. I think we may have been either talking about bringing that idea to life, or we were actively getting the equipment already. Like there was something happening in regards to that. So visually, yeah, I felt like I could be consistent in my theming, LOL. But yeah, I can be consistent in my vision. Now, when it comes to the vibe, I really just wanted something introspective. I wanted you to think, you know, I think asking the questions that I ask myself throughout the intro of the song as whispers is such a cool little effect. But I really just envisioned it like you're walking through this park, this forest, and as you're stepping, you're looking around, you're breathing in the fresh air. All you hear are cicadas and birds and other animals, and it's so clear and it feels so good, the breeze on your skin. And then you hear a few whispers, and it's intriguing, but it's a little scary. Kind of like being pulled in by, I don't know if you remember those, there's a specific movie I'm thinking of where like they sing to you and you get hypnotized. Is it Lion King? Oh, Hercules? It's something. I don't remember what it was, but there's some movie, I want to say it's an animated movie, an animated Disney movie. It's some kind of movie where like there's like these fates or something that sing in the water or something, and you like can't really control it. Was it Aquaman? Maybe it was the mermaids in Aquaman. Or maybe it's mermaids, but not an Aquaman. It's just in general. I don't know. If you know what I'm talking about or what I'm thinking of, please do comment. That's going to bother me until I get it. But yeah, that's the vibe I was getting, and I was thinking of. So I decided to just do these random like whispers and these mouth noises, all the so glitch, all that like weird, you know, mouth noisy stuff. And I was also really pining for like just something new. Like I was at a point, I think every artist does this, but you reach a point in your creativity where you're feeling experimental. And for me, it's always typically in between projects, but it's because I try to narrow down my expectation or my goal for, I guess, sonically for projects, or I'm not really sure, but there's always something I try to follow, whether it's a sonic theme, a storyline, or even just like a feeling, like there's something I want to convey there. So with this, yeah, it was very much giving like ethereal, dreamlike sequence. But I also wanted you to be reminded we are in the Matrix. So it does all of that intro part. It sounds so pretty, it's so beautiful. The wind chimes, everything. And then you hear like this tape stop effect. And then you hear a projector turning on. And as you hear it turn on, there is this film that plays audibly, but For me, it's visual because there's no actual video to the audio that's in the song. That's just a song I recorded when I was that young. I was probably like 10, maybe 11, something like that. I was like 10 or 11 years old. And I was obsessed with, like, back in my day, I'm 27. I'm going to be 28 in less than a month. Like, Lord help me. I talk like I'm 50 sometimes. But back in my day, we had MTV Playlistism, and where they played music videos every morning. We had, MTV Unplugged. And I think they still do have Unplugged and all these other things. But back then, it felt so much more prominent. Like if you were a big artist, if you were someone of stature, you did those things. You made sure that you were seen performing acoustically at some kind of MTV event. If you were that band, you made sure you were at Radio 1's Big Weekend, like you were at Warped Tour. Like there were just certain things that you did that were like milestones in your career, at least as an outside consumer for me. That's what I would say. So I would record myself doing like faked out versions of these things with my two good friends at the time who faked the band with me. I did everything myself when it came to like recording the stuff and like making it tangible, but they were really, really awesome enough. Shout out to them. I hope they don't mind me saying their names here, but it was the two friends of mine named Marlon and Pablo. They were literally the best. Now that I think about that, I literally always just like, wow, y'all are so sweet. I would have been like, LOL, you don't have a band. But they were like, they just supported the dream. Pablo was drummer and Marlon was a guitarist and songwriter. And a really good one too. There's a song on our first album that y'all will never hear called Desperation that he wrote. And to be actually honest with you, he had played it for me at school and I was so in love with it, but like we didn't have like smartphones and stuff at the time, so I couldn't record it. So I had gone home with it stuck in my head and I basically tried to like replay it and re-record it and sing it myself with his lyrics the way that I remembered it, which now that I'm older and have listened, I don't think was very accurate, but I think that's how creativity works, is you do what you think you make something that you think you're trying to make or whatever, you go for something and you end up with something else because there's just nobody does anything the same. So anyways, that's what that is you're hearing throughout the song. Is just that little sound bite of me recording myself pretending to be a large band or a 3-piece band on a not an MTV show specifically, but on some kind of like performance show. But I wanted to include that element to kind of include a piece of home. I really feel like with this record specifically, it opened up something for me. I don't know if I was already in the midst of it or already on this journey, or if the music helped guide me there, or if it was a simultaneous concoction of the experiences that I was having in my real life and the music at the same time. But I did go through some hardship that really made me turn to the questions that I'm going to leave you guys with. It made me ask myself the things that I'm going to provide you with, which I guess leads me to tell you, if you you don't know because this is my first time doing this. But if you aren't familiar, on my TikTok account and here on my YouTube shorts, I do have a few segments called Messy Morning Thoughts. There's only a few of them out right now because I just kind of started doing the thing as I wanted to share what I do with you guys, or what I do for myself every day with you guys. But even here, I'm going to, based off of the songs on this record, I'm going to provide you guys with journal questions that align with the themes of each of these records. So that way you get to hear a little bit of how these were made, what they're about, some cool facts, but then you also get to heal a bit and ask yourself some things that could really benefit you. And you know what, honestly, I don't want to take too long as I do this because we've got 4 more tracks to go, but I'll ask the questions now. So to end that off, Birth is just your intro into the Soul Glitch realm. It is your invitation to think about where you came from and to remind yourself of that. I hope the sound of me fake playing with a band, it reminds you that you used to fucking mold clay in your fucking bedroom before somebody told you it was stupid. I hope it reminds you that you used to fucking play baseball, even though you're bad at it, before somebody told you you shouldn't be swinging any bats. Like, whatever it was, whatever it is, dancing, drawing, painting, screaming, singing, whatever it is, I really wish I hope you find that, and you're able to find that through this experience. So, with that being said, here are 4 questions I'm going to leave you with for the first song. This is Birth Intro. And these are made to go with your soul work shadow journal. If you have not purchased that yet, I've just released my brand new merch line under my brand new merch apparel line, I guess you want to call it. I think I might have said that wrong, but it's called R Exclusive. That's RXCLSV, and you can actually say it how you want. Reclusive, R Exclusive. It's really supposed to be pronounced how you like. But yeah, I'm really excited. In that, if you go to robinofficial.com/shop/rexclusive, you will find a ton of merch, music, but in the merch section, probably on that first page, in the Soul Glitch section, I do have a journal that you can get in either lime green, orange, gray, or white. It's your soul work shadow journal, and it is basically where I would advise you, but you can use it for whatever you want, obviously, but I'm wanting you to use it to journal in it and answer some of the prompts that I give you here on this podcast. Also, too, if you don't even have that, if you are looking to do it right away and you don't listen to this podcast, or you don't really feel like going back to it, or you'd like to work on this outside of the podcast in your place you can't listen all the time, when you purchase the journal, there is a QR code in the corner of the front cover. If you scan that with your phone, it's going to lead you to a link tree that has that leads you to a link to a web page where I will be regularly updating it with journaling prompts that I have used myself and am actively using every day that you can do. I probably won't, I said every day for myself, but I will not be updating them every day. I'll probably be about once a week, once or twice a week or so, bi-weekly. But it'll be on a regular basis so that you can reflect at a moderate rate and you do not get overwhelmed, and we can heal together. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just really excited. I think this is going to be something beautiful. So with all that being said, here are your questions. The first one, what name or label do you most identify with, and why? The second, who were you before life's glitches or struggles? The third question, reflect on a moment when you felt like you were starting over. What did you learn about yourself? And finally, if you were to rebirth yourself today, what qualities or traits would you carry forward? Okay, so, wow, we got some deep ones, right? I write these down and forget them. But yes, the next song on the record is going to be Human. I love Human. Human is a very interesting story because even though I love it now, if I'm being honest with you, though I made it and knew it was going to be my opening song, it always gave outdated. The original demo, if you listen to it, the drums are so like, it's the same beat pattern. I think it's just my choice of samples. I'm not really sure. I called myself trying to be different, and I don't know. I didn't like it. So we had updated it at the very last minute. It was one of the last things we did on the record, was updating it. I updated it with new drum sounds. I changed the drum sounds. I added the harps and the sound bowls and the guitars. Yeah, I just kind of made it, I wanted it to sound more, I don't want to say spiritual, but spiritual. If I'm being honest with you, at this point in my life, this was the beginning of this year, beginning of 2024, I was finalizing everything, and I was at a point where Andre 3000's album had just came out, New Blue Sun, and I've been seeing some discourse online with people saying that they don't really listen to that album. They aren't sure why it's nominated for a Grammy. But if I'm honest, I jam that album to this day on a regular basis. I really do love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I wasn't somebody who I would play, like I'd go on YouTube and type in meditation music and stuff like that, the typical thing. But I wasn't somebody who made it a point to incorporate that into his daily routine. And I don't know if it's my love for Andre 3000 or if it was truly the way that album hit me as I was able to listen to it and take from it what I did, without lyrics, it's what's always going to grab me. But I found myself really enjoying it and connecting with it in a way that allowed me to listen to it on a regular basis and incorporate it in my daily routine. I like to listen to it as I do my oral hygiene, and depending on the day, you know, sometimes I actually even work out to that stuff. Sometimes I do like to listen to upbeat music where I can, anything that makes me feel like I want to dance, I low-key feel like it's good for me while I work out, because that energy that I would typically exude positively through dance, and sometimes I do while I'm working out, it gets just thrown into the movement and energy and strength that I carry into my workout. But sometimes I'm not really wanting to do all that. Sometimes I'm just wanting to chill. It's an emotionally low day, and I just want to focus enough to function and get through my workout. That's about it. And I will play that, and it will ground me in a way that is beautiful. The only album lyrically that won't do that thus far is Kendrick Lamar's GNX. And even then, it's really only Man at the Garden. I think that's the song that I always go to that kind of gives me that, yeah, keep going feeling. I could put that on repeat throughout my workout, to be quite real with you, but not the point. We're in Human. Human is now been remade into one of my favorite songs on the record. It is a seamless transition that I tried. I worked tirelessly to make that happen, and I wasn't even sure I did it right. I think I have a better idea of how to do it next time around, but I wanted so badly for the intro to glide into Human, because without that whole reverse echo before you transition, oh boy, it sounded so disconnected. I didn't like that. So now it's connected, right? Intro goes into Human. After Birth goes into Human. While Birth we're in Human, I told you guys I wanted like there to be some dialogue in the intro. It's not there, but I originally had the idea of two scientists having like a distorted dialogue that I could barely make out, like I'm in a coma of sorts. And I basically wanted them to ask each other, like, is everything done? Did it get done correct? I wanted to ask the other. And, you know, the guy's like, yeah, everything's done, but then I think something might have gone wrong. I'm not really sure. It looks like everything's fine. He's not reacting weird. And then one of them asked, like, hey, Robin, can you hear me? If you, I read the lyrics because I know it's kind of hard to hear. On the last song on the record, no. I actually think it's at the end of this song. It's at the end of Human. The outro, there is a robot-like voice, male voice that is calling my name. It's like, Robin, can you hear me? Robin, like that whole thing. And it's supposed to symbolize like I'm waking up. So the Human is essentially me waking up and becoming conscious of me being, of my feelings, but not having enough control to act. Sorry, give me a sec while I adjust my seat. Okay, yeah, so basically, as you listen, you can hear me describing what it feels like to have just woken up out of a coma, essentially. My body is cold from the metal intertwined in my skin. I've been reborn, but I am programmed to only listen. Then I say all of the problems, I know how to solve them, logical solutions when they push a button. But what have they done to my emotions? And that's basically letting you know that, okay, yeah, like I'm alive, everything's cool, I'm like awake and things, but I don't feel right. Something doesn't feel right? And if I'm honest, that's a feeling I'm sure maybe many of you can relate to. I've always felt throughout my life, as somebody who is a creative, I'm not even really an introvert, but I do, I'm now realizing, journaling, right? Because of certain circumstances and situations and experiences from my childhood, I have developed very introvert-like qualities, and that's not a bad thing. I don't want to demonize them or make it sound like I'm, that's a problem or anything. I just want to say that to point out that I've always, even without that influence on me, I've always felt different. Even before I could recognize that my situation in childhood was not perfect, when I thought everything was good, I felt different, you know. But I've learned to lean into that, and that's what I do now, right? So, yeah, we have Human, where I'm essentially waking up, and it's this whole, really just a story where I'm narrating my awakening and describing what it feels like. At the end of the song, there's this key change where it's only strings. It's an orchestral kind of outro, and I'm basically screaming into the abyss, like, what happens to my limbs, what happens to my heart? And then I ask, am I in the same world, or is this a new start? And that's when we go into the static sound and the robot voice asking if I can hear it. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? And then we transition into our next song, which is Feel a Wave. Now, being that Human has a ton of themes of like being what it is to be human and identity and all that stuff, I felt it very important to center the questions around that. So, I guess there's a little bit of conditioning in here. But anyways, here are 4 questions for you to journal about if you want to take them down for the song Human. And you know what? I'm curious too. If you have a favorite song on the record, I'm curious to know if the questions that I provide you throughout this podcast help you kind of maybe identify why you like that song so much, or does it elevate your liking of the song, or the opposite? Do you hate it now? You know, that's a thing, and I don't care. Like, I just make music to make it for whoever needs it. Like, I'm very interested more in the human experience and how we are all, how I fit into this equation here. So, yeah, the first question is going to be, when was the last time you felt disconnected from your emotions, and what caused it? So, a 2-parter. The second question is going to be, do you feel like you're living authentically or programmed by societal expectations? Why or why not? Question 3, what does it mean to you to truly feel human? And finally, what steps can you take to reconnect with your emotions and live more fully? Okay, so now let's talk about Feel a Wave. If you are new here, or even if you're just joining me, you may or may not be familiar with the fact that Feel a Wave it is no longer, but it was one of my biggest hits for a while. I released Feel a Wave as a single in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, really. Well, I wouldn't say the height of it. It was at the start of the pandemic. I think no, excuse me. I don't know. I guess it just depends where you were at the time. But the song came out in August of 2020, but I filmed the music video and started planning all that stuff back in March of that same year. So we were trying to plan and execute way before that. And then prior to that, I was mixing and learning to mix and master properly to do it right. Hence why there is an album version and the single version. The single version was one where me and my good buddy Know-How and my good buddy Simon were really in our bag trying to learn how to properly mix and get the radio quality that we were hearing. I was already somebody who was obsessed with that, but meeting them, oh Lord, we had the resources, time, and the will really to go and figure out how to do that. It still is such a beautiful thing. I love them so much. Yeah, Feel a Wave was written in 2019, I think. I think it was one of the first songs written, but it's hard to pinpoint because I know that it wasn't the first song. I think it was like the 3rd or 4th, something like that. I do know that I had already written Pull the Plug and Spiral. So Feel a Wave was definitely... Oh, and a song called Better Days that you may or may not hear. on this version of the album. Anyways, so there was Feel a Wave after those songs. So I know I had that for sure. I think I feel like it was the first song, or I get confused about one of the first, because it was the first song I had written in a professional studio. So in 2019, I was fortunate enough to meet my buddies Solid and Know How. And though they are two pivotal moments in my career, if you ask me. But in meeting them, I met another good friend of ours too that had a studio they owned. Through that, I was able to get a whole, pretty much a whole gig, a whole job engineering and learning how to work Logic and all that good stuff. That's essentially how I got to switch over DAWs and everything. So grateful, and literally don't know where I would be without that, right? But at that time, at this point when I'm writing Feel a Wave, I'm just now getting there and I'm just now learning to use all that stuff. And actually, I don't think I really learned to use it. I think I made Feel a Wave I was making Feel a Wave as a way to gauge what I could and could not do in the DAW myself. Okay. So I took it as an opportunity without it, like to not have a session, to just go freely in the DAW and see if I can make a beat from scratch. And I did that. And I came up with the Feel a Wave instrumental. Our friend there that owned the studio had some guitars that were there. So I played the guitar too. And I hadn't put real guitar on a song since I had a fake band that basically broke up and just disbanded in 2013. So I haven't played real live instrument on a mute. My first album, there's an acoustic cut that I played, but it's really badly done, and it's an acoustic guitar that needed to be tuned, and yeah, there's a lot there. But I hadn't played electric guitar in a while. I was so excited. So I already felt connected to the song there. Something about the chord progression was, I don't know, it spoke to me. So I wrote the song as I made the beat, and yeah, that was my first little thing that I did for myself in Logic to see if I could do it. And I did it the roundabout way for sure, based off of how I saw everybody else around me do it. But I mean, you start from somewhere and you tailor it, and man, oh man, I'm glad we freaking did. But yeah, Solid Know How helped me learn how to mix and master through that song there. And once we put it out, it still wasn't perfect, but it was definitely what I deem a good effort, a very good effort. One of the few critiques that we got back, Know How was saying that he had heard a couple times that, the bass, we just needed more bass, which is totally fine with me, because not ironically, but I mean, I'm a bass heavy bitch. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I love bass. Like, so much so that in my mixes now, in present day, I have to monitor how loud I have it and like turn it down often or shape it differently. Like, I'm basically learning that less is more. And that whole thing. But I love bass. Bass elements. That's how I move, I dance. That's how you get others to move, to dance. It's infectious. But yeah, Feel a Wave is that. Feel a Wave is ironic because it's though it sounds to me so upbeat and dreamy and very like chill, like, yeah, the lyrics are so depressing. I'm actually writing through my mania. At that time, I think I couldn't tell you exactly what was wrong. There was a few things that had happened. I had lost a job prior to this, or to that. I had just changed living situations. I had met all these new friends, but it felt like I was abandoning the old ones that I had. It was definitely a transitional time in life for sure. But I mean, like I said, it made for good music. I don't know, but I wrote Feel a Wave. I guess I can't say and won't say too much about that. There are plenty of interviews and just posts and fun facts about Feel a Wave. I mean, if y'all have any questions about it, please do feel free to comment and let me know. I'll definitely be sure to address them at one point or another. But I don't know, right now I think Feel a Wave has enough of a story out there. Maybe one day we'll go in depth. I can talk about, I think I will talk about the music video. Only because since the footage is on a hard drive, I probably can't get back at the moment. I don't know if there can ever be a behind the scenes of that. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm going to hold off on that. I think I'll never say never. But anyways, yeah, Feel a Wave, a song about depression, but, you know, romanticizing that a bit. Really more so how I cope with depression. So with all that being said, I tried to mold these journal questions here around those same themes. More specifically, escapism, emotional exhaustion, and finding solace. I think that's really the core of that song. A lot of people equate it to it being about smoking weed, and maybe, but not just about that. There's definitely way more of a message and a call in there. But I want to ask you guys, what do you turn to when you need to escape overwhelming emotions? Are these coping mechanisms that are healthy, or are they unhealthy? The second question is, reflect on a time when you felt maxed out. How did you recover or find balance? The third question, what small joys or waves bring you peace when life feels too heavy? And finally, how can you transform personal struggles into something meaningful or creative? Okay, the fourth of the 5 songs is going to be Code. Code is an interesting story. I'm going to try to keep it short because I feel as though I've been through 4 lifetimes with this song. I can't explain that any further right now, but I wrote it in 2019, around October, September, maybe even December, but I think it was October for sure. I made the instrumental and remember thinking, oh wow, this feels like something I would dance to in my room as a kid while I'm getting ready for school. And that right there, that feeling alone is what made me keep the song. I remember even thinking, like, I wonder if this even fits the vibe of that album. Like, here I am with all these other songs with 808s and, like, you know, like kind of trap beaty styled songs. I had Feel a Wave. I had, I think I had just made the beat to No Offense, just finished Virus. Like, you know, it just felt like Code was an outlier. But then I remembered who the fuck I was, and I have always been somebody that likes to lean. Window, though it is a predominantly R&B album, there is a fucking acoustic cut in there, acoustic band cut, like randomly in there. There's a piano ballad. There is, you know, just all these different stuff. Winner is a fucking tropical pop song. Like, there are, I like to lean. I like to bend. And I think at this time, I wasn't really giving myself full permission to do that, but I definitely did decide that I was going to let that be the final decision. Just the fact that I loved the way that I felt listening to even just the beat. And when I was singing it, in the beginning, it felt so cathartic. Now, I do love to sing Code, but it's not as heavy. It feels just like I'm singing another one of my radio hits. Like, I don't know. It feels like something I've heard so much, a song I've sang so many times that it doesn't faze me. It's how I imagine Beyonce must feel performing not Crazy in Love, but Love on Top. You know, like, it is just one of those songs. And Code, what's funny too is that after making it in 2019 as a demo, because I loved it so much, I actually shopped it around. That's one of the few songs that I have so many videos of me performing it live at open mics and, you know, gigs and stuff, because I just really loved that song. I felt like it was bigger than me at the time. Even if it didn't even necessarily fit like the set list or like the sonic stylings of the show or venue that I was performing at, I would do it. It was so, it's funny. Yeah, I love Code so much. Choosing to give it a music video only felt right because when we did the Feel a Wave music video, it just so happened that because I loved Code so much, I decided to make it the background music of the intro of the Feel a Wave music video. At that point, I was very much so thinking that Soul Glitch was going to come out in 2020. 2021. So I was thinking like, yeah, we tease Code now and Code will definitely be it'll definitely be the thing after this, right? No, that's definitely not how that fucking happened. But I couldn't have planned it any better. Like we released Feel a Wave 2020. A year goes by, we do the acoustic version of Feel a Wave. A year goes by, a year goes by, a year goes by, and I finally drop it. And the first single that I'm able to drop with the music video for the relaunch of Soul Glitch is Code. And it's just so funny because it's like, yeah, it just felt like I was doing what I said I was gonna do. It felt like finishing the book. It felt like when you start a good show, but it only has one fucking season, and you're like, oh my god, it's getting canceled. It's never coming back. I'm just like fucked. I'm just not good. I shouldn't curse so much. You're just like, I'm out of there. Like, I can't do anything about this. I just got to find a new show. It is what it is. I have to forget it. I have to forget I ever watched it. It felt like that. But then you find out that they actually are filming a brand new season and it's been renewed and you're good to go. And like, it was just like a writer's strike or something. Like, it's very much so like that. Like, oh my God, you're still doing that album? And what's crazy is I actually did almost give up on doing Soul Glitch as an album. Oh gosh, many times. But we'll talk about that in probably a different episode. If I haven't already, I might have already mentioned it a bit. But yeah, it was very, very, very interesting. I remember too, I don't even know when I made the decision. I think it was like I think it was the beginning of 2023 or like the springtime of 2023. I remember deciding like, okay, I'll start purchasing the things for the music video idea I have now. And then when we get closer to when it's time, when I'm finishing up the album, if that feels like it still aligns, we'll do it. I did, and it felt aligned. And December of 2023 comes, December 8th, and we do, a behind the scenes for this is coming. I'll just go ahead and say that right the fuck now. It's a behind the scenes for Code and for 10% are coming, especially because Code, I lost the raw footage and all that stuff for that. Like it crashed for real. So we're definitely I'm gonna give you guys, I feel like he deserves a full, what the fuck happened? But anyways, December 8th came and my good buddies Know How and Gary helped film the music video, and my sweet friend, Lizzie. Oh gosh, if you know, Lizzie is an amazing artist and a great friend. She owns the brand Hey Lizzie XMO. The XMO brand, God, iconic. She is a collaborator on my song Talk from my 2023 record, I Emotions, the expanded edition. If you haven't heard that, I do recommend checking it out. If I'm being honest with you, gosh, I don't even care. Fuck it. I'll just say it all here because we're putting it out there. Part of my new resolution for myself, just in general, is I'm just going to start saying the shit, man. It's just fuck it. Like, I was going to say it for a reason. Why stop myself? But yeah, I'm putting it out there that we are still going to film a music video for that song because we definitely already have it planned and we deserve to be able to do that. So I'm definitely rooting for that. I think also too, just time heals everything. Now that I've had more time to do other music videos and tailor my process, gosh, we can get this stuff done just much quicker. But yeah, Lizzie came, she helped with behind the scenes filming. There would literally be no behind the scenes if it wasn't for her and Noe. So like, just thank them. So thankful and so grateful for them. But yeah, it was such a beautiful thing, honestly. I remember the day came, putting on the costume, having my hair dyed, and feeling like that bitch. Not out of like arrogance, but just out of like fulfilling a fucking dream. Like, I don't know if y'all have ever done that. And if you haven't, say this with me now. In the year 2025, I will be fulfilling a dream. I will know what this feeling feels like. Good. And if you didn't say it, I'm gonna be mad as fuck that I just gave you that moment of silence. You didn't say anything. So say that, believe it. But yeah, that feeling of fulfillment, of planning something and executing it. Oh my gosh, that makes me, to be real with you, that's better than sex to me. I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, depending who it's with, but it's better. It's better than that. I don't know. I've yet to be swayed for real. That is like a heightened state of spirituality, of gratitude, of alignment. It's really just, it's no other feeling like it. So yeah, December 8th was fucking great. We filmed that first day. And the set, oh Lord, the set. I had already seen that set. I thought I was tripping, but I wasn't tripping. Gary reminded me that a good shout out to my friend Simone, a dope artist, beautiful, beautiful soul. She's so sweet. She's so gorgeous. He had said that he actually had been there to do a shoot with her for a song of hers. And I thought I was tripping. I had recognized the like speaker wall that was in the video. But you know, I had other ideas and plans for it after seeing it on Peerspace. So it was so fun. It was just so fun. We filmed that. I remember I loved the orange. I loved that. I just loved it. And then my favorite thing is I love to edit. I love to edit. Getting that raw footage and making that orange pop the way that I like, just right. I went through so many drafts of the color grade of code. It was crazy. And to be honest with you, the picky bitch in me still is not satisfied. I had this original idea of it being like VHS frame. I'm gonna use that for a different music video, but like it, 3x4. The widescreen just felt the best with all the futuristic effects, and you see the whole set. I wanted it to feel wide and to feel big, just like feel a wave, so it just felt natural to keep it that way. But gosh, I had the original plan, man. Oh my gosh, and the house. I had this futuristic orange house I was supposed to use. Oh my Lord. That ended up getting rented out for a whole year. I literally don't think that's going to be available to film in until like this next month, like after my birthday this next month. Yeah, that's if, nobody's used it for 2025. So now I have to find a way to use that orange ass house. Wow, y'all just heard the sound of me having an epiphany out loud. I love it. Well, I can't wait till y'all see what I do with it. But anyways, that's Code. But yes, Code, let's talk about lyrically. I do have a lot of stuff on Code, but Code is just a song essentially about not fitting in, like feeling like you're just this outsider. You're very different, very much so like the feeling I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about was a human or feel a wave. At the point of writing Code, I felt very, very different from my environment. Forgive me, I'm trying not to stutter so much, but I get passionate and all the thoughts just get jumbled. But I actually was experiencing some very profound and immense success in this point in my career. I would deem. I was meeting other artists. As somebody who makes music out of his bedroom, that is crazy. I was learning how to professionally mix and master, and I was able to use a studio full time. And then my job, my life, it felt like every day was revolved around something creative. It was really fun. It was really like the dream life, right? But in me doing the open mics, the gigs, the visuals, filming DJ Screws, day in Houston, there's a lot of things that I experienced I would not change for the world, but I definitely would be lying if I said I didn't feel different or outcasted from those spaces. Not because people were telling me that actively, but I've always been somebody that no one will tell me. Not no one, excuse me. I have people in my life, thank God, that I've chosen that will tell me, but most people don't tend to tell me that they're uncomfortable with me because of whatever. They just kind of act weird, or I pick up on it through, the way they look at me, body language, energy, really. I can feel the undercurrents of a room. Fuck it, if you know, you know. In my human design, I'm somebody with an open spleen. So I'm very sensitive to emotions around me. And I'm often finding myself having to do a lot of protective work around that, because if I enter a space that feels heavy like that, I will be the one to react on it if I'm not careful and whatnot. But as I say that it's something I'm healing, so maybe that's not the case, since I can articulate it to you guys clearly. But anyways, yeah, yeah, I don't know. Very interesting stuff. But let's go on. We have one more song. So let's get into the journal questions for this song. For Code, I've got 4 more questions for you. Okay. These are going to revolve around themes of like digital influence, self-awareness, and I would say breaking patterns. So the first one, are there glitches or flaws in how you live your life that you wish to address? Are there glitches or flaws in how you live your life that you wish to address? Number 2, how does technology impact your emotions and sense of self? Ooh, that's an important one. I have to ask myself that on a regular basis. I'll reiterate it. How does technology impact your emotions and sense of self? Number 3, reflect on habits or routines that feel automatic or programmed. What can you do to gain control? And finally, number 4, if you could rewrite the code of your life, what would you change? Okay. And we're on to our final song. Thank God. Track 5, number 5, is song number 5, Void. This is a song that features my good friends Jimmy of the Saints and Chills Marley. These are 2 immensely talented artists that I have worked with personally and professionally on numerous occasions. Chills is somebody that I helped make his debut record with. It's called Real Don't Sell. His debut album, Real Don't Sell, came out in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 2022. But we spent years making that record. He is one of the most patient, diligent, disciplined people that I've seen when it comes to how he works musically. And his style, musicality, and understanding of his flows and rhythms and things it's just otherworldly. I really do appreciate him. That's my boy. I love him to death. Then we have Jimmy. Jimmy is somebody that I've known really only since 2019 when I released my debut record, Window. He was somebody that was extremely supportive and instrumental in making me feel like this record really had some impact. And from there, I mean, naturally, if I felt that connection with somebody, I would want to make music with them. But it really felt natural to. And we didn't even do that immediately. I don't think we got on a track together until the end of that year, in December. I was on his remix of I Want You This Christmas. Actually, I think we might have either had already recorded or shortly after that recorded the Angels song for his record, March 9th. But I'm not 100% sure about that, but I do know, 2019, we had worked on a couple of things. We've done some more stuff behind the scenes that has yet to come out, but I'll work with him whenever. I love him to death. But the Void song, or the song Void, is about that piece of you that's missing and feeling like you're just not feeling whole. Like there's a literal void somewhere in your life, your sense of self, yourself, Void is one of my favorite songs in terms of vocal arrangement on the record. And I don't know if it's because there's multiple of us on the record, so I had to do more, but I was really pleased with and happy to record the vocals for this. The harmony stacks and the chorus are beautiful. I don't think I've ever to this day made anything as pretty, as lush, as dreamy. Shout out also to the artist or producer that made the loop, that harp loop that I used. It's a producer called Alaba Fruit. But yeah, man, you did your thing. That was so inspiring. But yeah, I love the chorus harmonies. I love the choir vocals. Yeah, I really love the vocal arrangement on that song. Lyrically, writing it was a blur. If I'm being honest, I was just getting my emotions out. I don't think it took me long. I knew that I wanted a feature on there. I had hit up my buddy Jimmy first before I hit up Chills to do it. Chills, I decided to add him into the intro, into the bridge with his vocal harmonies, because once we finished his record, once I had really listened to his album and I had just kind of gotten a feel of how to properly mix him and everything, I was so inspired by how he would go in there and just add little like when I'm listening to Void, I'm like, I always go to his part sometimes. I try to remind myself I gotta be on mine if I'm gonna sing it live and all that, but I'll sing his part before I sing mine, like on the bridge where it's like where Jimmy's rapping. Even in the intro, it's just so pretty. Crazy. But anyways, beautiful. The boys did their things on there. They really made the song. And then as far as the instrumentation goes, Know How helping me make that song more cinematic. It gave it some life. At first it just opened up with the loop, but he took that and he played those wind chimes in the beginning and added some bells, and it made me like, and then he arranged like where he opened up with the pad, and it was perfect. It really gave it some structure and made it more of an album track. Once he did that, I really started to see it as something different. I at first was very skeptical about it being on the record. It didn't feel modern. It didn't feel anything like that. But I felt like after hearing him do what he did to it, that is why it was meant to be on this record, because it's different. And then from there, we leaned into that. So I had Harold play the live bass on there. The part at the end during the bridge where he follows my... no, during the chorus. Sorry, it's during the chorus where he tries to follow my run. Oh, so pretty, because that run was an accident. I don't even remember how I did that. I'd be singing it all differently now when I do it. But the part where it's like, I did it like 2 or 3 times and had me a take. I said, oh, beautiful. That's beautiful. I see what you tried to do there, you musical genius. Anyways, I'm proud of it. I'm happy. I'm so happy with it. One of my favorite songs on the record. It's something that, even though it sounds so pretty, it's like Feel a Wave and like Code. All these songs sound so pretty, but they're sad when you're listening to these lyrics. And I'm happy that I'm out of that space. I'm finding my way out, and that we could do it together. So speaking of finding our way out, let's get to the journal questions. So, Void's themes include inner emptiness, searching for fulfillment, and self-doubt. That's a good one. So here are 4 questions based off of those themes. The first question is, what voids or missing pieces do you feel in your life right now? Question number 2, how do you usually silence the noise in your mind? Is it effective when you do it? Number 3, reflect on the time when you overcame a period of emptiness. What filled that void? And finally, what steps can you take to turn feelings of lack into growth opportunities? Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I am your host, Robin. That's Rxbyn. And this has been part 1 of 3 of our song breakdown and unpacking for my album Soul Glitch. This is Inside the Glitch, where we break down and go in depth on my album and intersect that with mental health and healing and simultaneously grow together. So I'm glad you could be with me. If you like what you heard here today and have stuck around this far, you are fucking awesome. And I will definitely make sure I have something for you. Please do comment or to let me know or something. In the meantime, if you are interested in seeing my face, checking out the music, or hearing more from me in this podcast, please do hit the like button. You can subscribe, and you can always find me on any and every social media at Rxbyn Official, or you can visit my website at robinofficial.com. That's Rxbynofficial.com. Alrighty, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye. Rise from it.